everyone, welcome to Silverrun Forest Farm. Steelhorse here, and we're with Jake and Paige. You can see we've rolled into May, and Jake's just finished cutting out a boundary on this new field over here on the hillside, but he wants to get there's a few rocks in the way that he wants to deal with first. You'll notice that the sugar beet we accidentally planted in the field he's now calling beet mistake is out of the ground, and so that's looking quite good. But what he wants to do is just get a helper going, cutting out this area over here that he's realised he can use for a field. For a little while he didn't realise that their property actually extended over the road here, and so consequently he hasn't been paying much attention to it. But it turns out there's a little bit of a clearing, and whilst we won't come right up here to the road, there's a nice sort of little grassy verge here that we can potentially drop some crop in, so we're going to give that a whirl. But before we can do anything, of course, we need to plough it out and turn it into a field. So it's fairly steep in places, but this will do the trick. So we'll whack that down there. We'll turn on, or get rid of that course. We'll turn on recording, which will allow us, as we go round, to carve out the edge of a field. So away we go. Just trace out the line that we want. We're not too fussed. Certainly not going to clear any trees out of this area. This really is just about getting some crop in the ground on a piece of land that represents a bonus to our plans. So you might recall from last time Jake had gotten a little bit tangled up with his planting calendars, and he accidentally put sugar beet in the wrong field. The two remaining fields here, the plan is to put in soybeans. So that's what we're preparing for, and with any luck this will work out quite nicely. So we've got the rest of the month, so really 2 days, to get our soybeans in, so we're in pretty good shape. All of the corn is in the waterfront and Eddie's fields, so we're just about at the end of the planting season, and all in all things have gone pretty well. And there's the old sawmill over there, so that's a lot closer than you really think. But then again, we're getting a fair amount of land under crop now. We'll have a check-in on our maps shortly. Now, this is going to be a bit of a serious drag up this hill. I don't know if we've got the horse plough to plough it uphill, but we'll see. It'll be slow, whatever it is. I think I can. Fairly steep when you look at it from that angle. So down at the new sawmill, I'll just take out this shrub here, I think. go. Just sort of join that back up. So that'll do us there. Save that. And if we just jump out of our tractor for a sec, let's have a look here. So there was beat mistake. So we've got sugar beets now in these 3 fields. This is where we're going to put our soybeans that we've been clearing. And then we've just cut out this field over here. So you can see it's quite a reasonable size compared to the rest of our fields. There's our 2 fields of corn, our oats, and our barley. So, and of course the meadow that we run at the riding school. So coming along quite nicely in terms of areas to farm. But this field here, we'll just give it a name. Might call it Old Sawmill. I'll do. So the Old Sawmill field, just under 3 acres, and hillside soy is just over 3 acres. So 2 to 3 acres seems to be our the best we can come up with in this sort of hilly area. They get a little bit bigger around the 10 mark down by the water where it's flatter. So that's all good. But what we'll do here, we'll jump in and create a course. There's our, we will do, I think we've got enough space on the edges, so I might only do 3 headlands, but we'll start on the center and get you going. Let's generate a course. That's pretty much going across the hills, so start you off and see how you go. I reckon that'll do pretty well. So we might leave her to make that work. Meanwhile, we really want to get some of these rocks sorted. So that'll only take a little bit of a minute. You can see what he's done cutting the edge of this field out. The other thing we need to get sorted out today is we've got to get our silage bales into the snake, and hopefully it'd be nice to be able to get seed into that field that he's cutting out, or that our helpers cutting across. With the view of the old sawmill, that'd really be a big step forward. And then next time we've just got this one to finish off. As you can see, I can already see that there's a stump just in front of us that we missed. Just there, in fact. So I'll have to come back and get that one. Now, where's the next? Pretty sure there's another rock over here. There's not a lot of them, but... Oh, and another stump. But once they're done, this field's pretty much good to finish ploughing out now. And there's a fair old pile of timber. The cash supply has been dropping slowly. We're in good shape, but not too worried, because silage that he wants to make will bring in a nice bit of coin, and we've still got some corn which he's hoping to sell in the next month or two. Looks like there's a little tree there we can deal with. And of course, all being well, next month we'll harvest our wheat. Wheat or barley? What did we put into bigger fields? Looks like barley. There you go. That's our barley field. And of course this year we're looking to sell most of that because we've still got plenty in the silo for making seed. Now, just checking. Oops, there's another stump. So you can see the piles of logs that he's processed, just a couple more to finish off. Just make sure there's no rocks left on the edge here. No, we should be able to carve all of this out. Few months work been. Whoop, another stump there. Preparing all of this area, so you'll be kind of pleased. Another stump there to see the back of it, to be honest, and to see it with a crop in the ground will look quite different, I think. Now, interestingly, speaking of more crops in the ground, they've been getting along with their work down by the new sawmill. So you might recall last month there was a factory went in that makes biofuels, which is kind of interesting. I might leave that rock over there for the moment. Kind of looks decorative. Well, they must get a lot of help with building factories and stuff with prefab components, because there's already another one gone up alongside that biofuel place that, according to the board on the front, is going to produce cereal. Now, that's pretty interesting because obviously we've got some corn, so hasn't had any effect on the corn price so far. But we've also got a couple of fields of oats in the ground. So now, where was that other stump? So with any luck, that'll add just a little bit more demand. I know we had one up here somewhere. Never mind, we'll find him. Where was he? There he is. Just having that extra demand for crops in the area will be a good thing. So I got him already. That was quick and easy. Yeah, we saw a couple as we drove down the side here. It seems like the indicator from that sign is that we saw on the fence last time is pretty accurate. There is some sort of business dealership coming that supplies AGCO tractors and the like, so, or harvesters maybe. Who knows? Heavy equipment So that's not a bad thing, having another brand dealer actually in the area, not have to just rely on Eddie to get our stuff when we need it. So I'm sure we'll see that develop over the next couple of months. Not like we're hanging out for anything, so we'll just wait until that comes. For now, we might leave Jake with this one for a minute and check back with him when he's ready to plant that field. Might as well go grab those stones and add them to our pile. And see also our sugar beets come up nicely here, so we'll need to throw a little bit of fertiliser around in the next day or two. We'll just see what the sequence of activities is depending on when how long it takes to plough out that field on the hillside. It will take a little while, no doubt. See how big are these piles? $1,200. We get the other one as well. Looks like almost just a whisker left there. Pretty sure we got a stone pile over here next to our little platform, so we'll just add to that one. Makes it so much easier when now that Jake's got pretty much all the gear he needs for this sort of work. It doesn't take too long to get through these jobs. For the most part. Every now and again, like everyone, you can have a bad day. Let's see here. Jake would be the first to admit this isn't his favourite piece of equipment on these hills. Brakes are a little bit softer than he likes. But he hasn't ended up in the river at the bottom yet, so can't be all bad. Let's go see how that ploughing's getting along. He's leaving a few bits, so we might have a bit of tidying up to do. Just the angles aren't working perfectly. Might be just a fraction wide, actually. But there's still a bit of work to go there. Looking at the waypoints, we're almost halfway. So, as a rough guide, 13 minutes according to the tool. So, we'll be back. In the meantime, what we might do is just get a few of our bales sausaged up. So, we're all unfolded. So leave him to run. let's go get started. Definitely easier with the telehandler. By the time we get back with the next one, it'll work out fairly well. The machine will come towards us. Just drops in there beautifully. They can see the building they've built over there that's apparently going to make boxes of cereal. So really coming along fast. How many of these can we take? Let's try 3. 3 might be a bit heavy though. Oh. Knock the stack over. Line it up. Tip it on in. Come on. There you go. Just wait for him to move out of the way. Works much better, I find, if you wait for that little slider to come back. If you get impatient, it tends to kick your bale off the back when it slides. Horses that carry on, they're all good for food. Jake checked that this morning. Since he got in trouble last year for running the cows out of food, he hasn't dared let any of the animals run out. Paige would really be unimpressed. And that's just no fun. We might leave him with this for a little while. You can kind of see how the trend's going. Just take a couple of bales over and stick them on. That's probably getting pretty close to where we might pause for the minute. You can see he moves the machine in the middle of the activity and say broke the sausage, but no harm done. It's just, there's no question that it's whoop, play dominoes. But having a maneuverable machine like the Merlo makes this job 10 times easier than it was trying to do it in the early days with the skid steer. So it's made life a lot simpler. Let's tip you off there. Where are you? That'll do us, I think, for the minute. Leave the Merlo here. Finish you off. Oops. Didn't want to do that. Wanted to unload bales is the command. There we go. So let's get the planter sorted and ready to go. But the other thing we want to do is also run across with the soil tester. So that we can sample that field. Load the seed up. Actually, while we're here, probably wouldn't hurt just to do a little bit of maintenance on the Allis. Just get the Kubota to follow us across. There we go. Yeah, we'll need to get those patches out of there before we can test this, so that might take a few minutes. Let the seeder, the planter can just wait. We try and soil test before we've, because this wasn't originally filled, we'll end up with those patches in the middle of our test, so that won't do us any good at all. But this won't take long. As so often happens when Jake's sitting here just driving backwards and forwards ploughing the field or working a field, he's had a bit of an idea and he's been on the phone to Ed. He thinks it might work, so I want to look closely. That it's pretty much a straight shot up the river there from the sawmill to those little platforms where he's been stacking the timber. And so it makes wondering, because that little pond there just this side, that's where the float pond for the sawmill, Jake reckons with a little bit of fiddling around, you could run a yarder cable under the bridge there, just follow the river line and drop the logs straight at the sawmill. So yeah, Eddie reckons he can get a bigger yarder than the one we've got. So you tow it and it's got its own standalone engine, so, or power source generator. So that might be a way to avoid having to load all the logs onto a trailer only to take them around and unload them again. So it's kind of one of those things, just sitting there staring at it as he drives backwards and forwards feels like an option. But for now, it's not priority. Let's get this field tested. So we'll unfold our tester. Drive into the fields. Won't take many samples to get this one done. Probably something like a little bit further. 4 up and 3 back, or something along those sort of lines. And we can send those samples off and get the planting of the soybeans underway. By the looks, just can't quite get it done in one. Beautiful. Let's why to send those off to the lab. Next, to fold up our equipment. We'll need it again when we finish cutting the field over the road. For now, let's get this planting going. 2 headlands should work all right. That looks pretty good. And there we go. Now we will probably need some more seed, but for now we can duck over the road and get on with our ploughing. Steep little pinch to get out of there. We can probably cut the corner here and just run up the... Why is someone trying to squeak through? You could see me going from miles away. Let's just do a little bit more work on our headland here, I think. Might be the trick. Make sure we've got all of the stumps out as we go. Unlike the other field where we knew it was clear all the way. This one might be one we're best doing ourselves. It's always a little bit hairy coming over the rise here as the land just drops away from us. So I found on the first couple of runs that Traction King seems to handle it pretty well, so as long as he's just picks the right gear, it'll quite happily work down the hill. Just pick that tool up so we can turn, otherwise the angle of the hill gets in the way a bit. And put it down again and off we go. We can see the field starting to take shape, tidying up a little bit of the various runs that we've done experimenting over the last little while. There is a big stump there that we missed. So get that shortly. Let's see if our soil samples came back and what sort of land we ended up with over there. So, and we did pretty well. It's about a 50-50 shot. So if we're going to extend the field, we'd want to be extending back towards the sawmill. How far? Let's have a look how far our land goes up there. So we actually own all the way to the river and the highway, so that whole block. So we might have a look at extending that a little bit further for next year, but it might be a bit of a struggle to get further up the hill. We might leave that treed, and we've never really looked at the land around this side, so that's all future projects. But it's a mix of silty clay and sandy loam, so that's not so bad. We didn't really have any time to put lime on it. Not sure if you'll get lime on this one. We might have a bit more time given that we've made good progress today, but it's going to take the rest of the day to get the ploughing done. We've still got more of those bales to pack into the sausage machine, and no doubt we'll need to fill the planter. Oh no, I've done it again. Just realised Jake didn't reset the seeding option, so he's called the contractor he's got working on that sawmill fields, but now we've got half a field of corn that we don't really want. So luckily Jake bought a cultivator that sort of popped up in the sale a few months ago that he hasn't had a need or a chance to use. It was more sort of prepping for the future, but it turns out in order to get the field turned around so that he can get some soybeans into it, he's going to need to turn it over so that he can replant over the top of the corn. So we'll take a little bit more time. It's just annoying more so than anything, but these things happen when you got multiple things on the go and you're rushing a bit, not paying as much attention perhaps as you should. So might be just about quicker to go through town, actually. It's kind of 6 of 1 rather than the rough roads. We can duck through town and back up. There's the cereal factory that they've created, so starting to do a little bit of landscaping by the looks down at the end where they finished that biofuels factory, keen for it to look have some green to go with its green credentials, I guess. But never mind, we'll be up at our Sawmill View field in a second. Yeah, so it looks like you got about half the field seeded, but with any luck, we should be able to sort that out. And then start again. Looks like our cultivator's not a huge fan of the hillside, so we're getting a little bit of drift. Broadly speaking, getting the job done, so yeah, a little bit of slide on the steeper part of the hill. And we've got more of a downhill section. It works fine. So with any luck, this will only take half an hour or so, and we'll probably need to fill the seeder before we can get back seeding again. Let's do the bottom edge. That's pretty much the job done. It's been a little awkward, as you can see. From time to time we get a little bit of side slip down the hill because the frame of the cultivator's pretty heavy. A little bit surprising given the guide wheels that are there, to be honest, but nonetheless we've just about got it. Just trying to make sure we get all of the bits that we seeded, because otherwise they're going to have a bit of an issue when the crop strikes and it comes time to harvest. Thankfully there's enough texture difference to be able to pick up most of them, but that's pretty much got it there. I think there's one little patch back here behind us. It looks like we're pretty good down to the edge there. Just this steep section. Have we got enough traction to pull up the hill? So that we don't get corn sprouting through the middle of our... There's a spot right there. Sprouting through the middle of our soybean crop. So that looks pretty good though. We'll have a look at the crop map just to be certain. But an hour or so lost in his afternoon, and his mistake largely rectified now. So I think what we'll do is run back over and fill up planter and try with take 2. There we go. Fill up with seed. Let's go back and try again. So this time we've definitely got soybeans selected. Can see the little icon down the bottom. And we're going to start here at our waypoint and off we go. And that should get that job all done. So small error now corrected. The seeds going in and should get that all seeded up before it gets dark. We can run the Allis over. Nothing coming. Run the Allis over to where we're going to need it next, which is when we finish ploughing out the last of the hillside fields. But after that little bit of late in the afternoon drama, this might be about where we leave it. There's not too much ploughing left on this. Jake can get back to that and get a few more laps of this one done. Oops. Works better if you put the plough down. But yeah, and we've made some reasonable progress for the day. This field is taking shape just as he wants. The soybeans are now going into the other fields, which is also what he wants. So all in all, it's been productive, and he's had that bit of an idea as to how he might go about somewhat easily moving the logs from the place he's got them stored at the bottom of the hill here. So it'll be interesting to see what he can cook up with Eddie and the folks at the sawmill to get that done, if he can bring his idea to life. But for now, the focus is on just finishing the ploughing, so next time we have less hassle. May even manage to get time to spread some lime on this before we seed it. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, have fun. See ya.